If you live in America right now and you're not appreciative for everything you have, or you're complaining about what's going on in the country, this is gonna be an eye-opening video for you. I don't know if you saw my video a while ago called Familiarity Breeds Depolarization, and you just become used to or become, accustomed to what you have. So if you like get a new watch or a new car, it's great at first, and all of a sudden it's another thing, right? It just loses its like magnetism or like attractiveness. So I'm starting to get more into history. I was reading about Joseph Stalin, probably one of the most evil people in the history of mankind, one of the biggest mass murderers ever, just a horrible person, and very sad and very eye-opening reading that and seeing what people the Soviet Union went through. And I started looking at some of the things that they went through, and he was taking all the crops from people from Ukraine and having all the farmers, farm everything, and he would take all the crops, and he caused one of the biggest man-made famines in history, and it wiped out millions of people. I don't know the exact number by heart, but it was just devastating. And it just made me think like how fortunate we are to live in the country that we live in, to have the freedoms that we have, and just realize that some of the things that I complain about and we complain about every day are just like minuscule and they're minor in the grand scheme of things. I was actually talking to somebody who grew up in Ukraine. They're in their 70s, and they told me a story, and I was asking about, hey, do you know anything about Joseph Stalin? And reading the history, and they started talking. All of a sudden they started breaking down and crying. I'm not going to reveal who it was, but they said to me, I remember when my grandmother told me that one night the government came and took her husband from them, and they took this person's grandfather in the middle of the night, and they never seen that person again. And just imagine being able to do nothing about it. Just in the middle of the night, the government, the people you trust to take care of you, that are running your country, literally taking the person that's providing for your family, the father of your children, your husband, your spouse, and just taking them, and you being able to do nothing about it, never knowing what happened, and having no say in it. And that, she started breaking down crying when she was telling the story. And I sat here and I was like, wow, the stuff that I complain about, the stuff that I think is an inconvenience for me because I order my food and it doesn't show up on time, right? Look, I'm fortunate enough to be able to order food and get food on demand, where people over there were literally growing the food, doing the work, getting the food taken away from them and given to the government, and they were starving. And there was a point where, and it gets just really, really, I don't want to share too much about it, but if you're reading the history, it's very, very like grotesque and disgusting, the things that they did to these people. And we're over here complaining that our delivery was late, or our food did come out hot, or our food wasn't cooked properly. So just put it into perspective. So anybody that's like in America right now, take a step back, and the things that are upsetting us and the things that we're unhappy with, take a step back and just look at how fortunate we are. Because if we were having to go through those things, then we have real problems. You're in America right now, things are bothering you, you feel like things are wrong and this is a horrible country. Take a step back, read some history books, look at what other people were going through, and even today, like the war in Ukraine and what people are going through, just take a look at that and realize how fortunate, how blessed we are to be in the situation that we're in today. So I challenge everybody to just show some gratitude, drop in the comments below something that you're grateful for and you're happy for, living in America and having what we have today. Sorry if that message was a little morbid, but it was meant to just make you feel a little bit better about what you have and what the small problems in the grand scheme of things that don't mean as much. So hopefully you take this and it helps you, build some gratitude and have a great day. Talk soon.